All right, we are live here on StreamYard, on Facebook, on YouTube, and I am here. I wouldn't call him just an ally. If you don't know Chris Naugle, I've been messing with Chris Naugle for a long time, probably 5-6 years now. I consider him a friend. He's past the point of ally. You become an ally first, and then you got to make it to the friend stage. You got to do a lot of business. The old Japanese proverb, I'll never forget, it says, don't ever become friends with somebody. Do business with them and then become friends with them, because when you do business with somebody, it pulls out their true character, right? And I tell you without a shadow of a doubt, Chris Naugle is a man of honor, character, integrity, and just an all-around great human being. And we do a lot of business together. He funds a lot of my deals. He's raised tens of millions of dollars for a lot of my real estate deals, a lot of flips, mobile home parks. We've done a whole lot of my first event here. Matter of fact, in Destin, Florida, my very first event, Skillathon, 5 years ago. You came speaking. This is right around the time you had just finished doing this show, Risky Builders.
Yep. Yeah, we just finished that.
Yep. So wanted to bring him on. He's going to be at my event here in Destin, Florida. I'm at my house right now, but we kind of grew out of my house. So we're going to be we rented that house, that big mansion where Naugle's going to be flying in tomorrow. We're going to have 50 top entrepreneurs across the country coming in and talking shit, figuring out strategic advantages, how to make money, how to do more real estate deals, how to do more business, how to raise more money, and, how to bash the communists a little bit harder. So
I remember when that mansion was being built. I remember when that wasn't even there. It was just an open lot. Or actually, I think it might have been a small house or something, but they ripped it down, and for years they built that giant thing. I can't wait to see the inside. It looks epic.
No, dude, it's unbelievable. It's 10,000 square feet mansion. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. So anyway, I want to talk to you guys and just kind of let's just talk about what's going on in the economy. We got interest rates going up. We got we got a war in Ukraine. We got a lot of political divide. What's your overall take, Naugle? What you thinking is going to happen here?
I don't even think I know, because all I've studied for years. To understand where we're going, you got to understand where we've been. You got to look back at history, and it's pretty easy to understand the different places to look. And it starts with 1929. You look at what was going on in 1929, which was the last time we were at the end of a long-term debt cycle, 1933 to be exact. So what we're about to see, no one on here and nobody that has ever seen this, because it's a 50 to 75 year cycle. The second period of time you'd have to look at to understand what this is going to look like is 1980s, maybe late 70s, early 80s, when we were in hyperinflation. You look at some of the sentiment that investors went through during the 80s, what that did to the markets, what that did to everything, because that was another hyperinflation period. And then you got to look at the dot-com crash, which I came into Wall Street right after the dot-com crash, but I came into Wall Street because my business, Fat Man, was crippled by the dot-com recession. And I think you can understand where we're going. I mean, if you look at what's going on in the crypto space, you look at what's going on at the top, the FANG stocks, all of them are hemorrhaging right now. They're all cutting people. I don't think they're going anywhere. None of the FANGs, I think, are going to go out of business, but you're going to see a major ripple effect from the top down.
Wait, you didn't invest in FTX, Naugle?
No.
Come on, man.
Oh my God, dude. I can't tell you how many masterminds I spoke at where I seen these young bucks that were all self-proclaimed millionaires and multimillionaires driving Lambos, all because of crypto. And it's funny, I've not seen one of them at any event I've spoken at over the last year. And it's funny, like I do tons of live shows every week, and we used to have crypto people on there bashing us, bashing the infinite banking concept and the stuff we teach about banking, bashing all the stuff I taught, bashing private lending. Oh, that's not how you make money. You make money in crypto. They're all gone. And you know what? There's a lot to be learned from that. You look at history, that too has happened before, because all the people that were in tech back in the 1990s making millions of dollars, in one event, in 1 year, gone, all of them gone. And then 2008, like pre-2008, you had a whole bunch of real estate investors flipping houses. It's when I got it. 2006 is the first flip I ever did. And I remember all these guys I envied, these gurus that were making tons of money. All of them were gone in 2008, 9, and 10 during the Great Recession. So where are we going? Well, take all those timeframes I just mentioned, put them in a blender, hit start, and then pour it into a cup and drink it, because that's a lot what it's going to be. The next phase, so we're at the fourth quarter here. We're at the end of a long-term debt cycle. We're at the end of a short-term debt cycle, actually long overdue on that. We're at the end of a technology cycle. And we've got the Fed doing what they've done, I think, 7 other times in history. This would be the 8th time. And every time they've done what they're doing, raising interest rates and peeling off their balance sheet, unwinding their balance sheet, as it's called, every time but one has resulted in a recession. But the true iron cross, and I'm literally going to give a cross, is the inverted yield curve, which we've seen now. Don't mark me on this. The 2 and the 10 year, I believe, is inverted 3 times. I've been talking about it since last year, since March. And when it inverts, I will tell you, since World War II, there's not been one time, not one, when the yield curve inverted, the 2 and the 10 specifically, that hasn't resulted in a severe recession. So take all of that data, the pure data, the facts, and then tell me where we're going. I still have people tell me, oh, we're not going into a recession. Well, the freaking president went online and did so much damage by going and saying, we're not going to be in a recession. There's no way we're going to be in a recession. That is the most, that is one of the, I mean, he's done a lot of things, but that's one of the worst things he could have done. Because think of seniors. They watch the news. They hang on to every word the president says, because they come from a different era where they actually believed the shit that came out of political people's mouths.
Well, let's be real. They were a little bit more honest back then.
They were. I get it. I get it. But, it's like you can't shake that. That's the generation. So when a senior or retired person hears the president say we're not going into recession, some of them are hanging on to that, saying, okay, thought this was going to be bad. And they keep their money invested. Their advisor says, oh, stay the course. You're in this for the long haul. It's a paper loss. I was taught to do all those things in Wall Street. And all of those resulted in my clients losing 40, 50% of their assets. And that same thing is going to happen over again. So the stock market will probably fall another 30 to 50%. And when I say that, people are like, there's no way. There's no way. We're at the bottom now. You clearly can't read a freaking chart. Just look at a chart. Go back to 2011. That is the only grounding point. That is the only floor that you can possibly look at as to where this would fall. We went up so fast that it's going to come down just as fast. There's no stopping points. So the stock market, 30 to 50%. The Fed will continue to raise rates until they hit their target. Chris, I'd love, in the news, I can't remember if it was 2 weeks ago, but the markets were rallying because the anticipation was that they were going to bring inflation down to 7.9. Like that was the Wall Street estimate. And then when the numbers came out, it was 7.7. Whether you believe the inflation numbers and the CPI numbers, that's your prerogative. But it came out to 7.7. And the markets rallied and everybody was cheering, oh my God, it's working. It's coming down. The Fed's going to slow their actions down. They're not going to raise rates as much. Somehow, and I'm a logical thinker, somehow emotion got the best of all of Wall Street, or maybe they just wanted you to feel like that because they're trying to load you on a ship that they're about to sink. They got excited about that, but the Fed has been very clear that they're going to instill pain until they get the target rate of 2% inflation. 2%. We're at 7.7. And how much damage has been done this year by raising interest rates? More than double on 30-year mortgages. We haven't even seen the outcome of what's going to hit real estate yet. A lot of people say there's no way 2008 can happen again. Bullshit. We're in the same kind of a bubble. It will be different, but there's no way that can't happen again. Will it be as severe? I don't know.
But Chris, the real question is, what do we do? We all know this coming. The real question, these guys want to know what to do. I think they should probably all come into Root Coin. Huh?
Yeah, I think so too.
Root Coin 2023 going in.
Root Coin, yeah. Hey, why not? What was it? FTX's coin was FTT. That thing still has value. So Root Coin, come on, man. You guys got to root for the Root Coin. I'm sure that's going to go to the moon.
What a load of bullshit, huh? Jesus Christ! So you guys got to get real with yourself and stop chasing all these hopes and dreams of building wealth. Like it has to be anything that's super easy that you could just buy and just sit and it goes up. That's not investing. That's gambling, guys. So give them some tips. I mean, I agree wholeheartedly with everything you said. you know, I have my ideas on what I'm doing, but I want them to hear what you're doing, and we can kind of mesh that together and throw some ideas together, give them some action plans and steps.
Well, to be quite honest, I'm doing the opposite of what everybody's telling you all to do. I've been doing that for well over a year. People are buying real estate, trying to take their cash, which has been deemed cash is trash because of inflation, and they've been spending it, buying cars and everything else. I've been doing the opposite. I've been being my own bank. Everything that I own, except for my primary residence, is funded through my banking system. Both my cars, everything, it's all funded. So the payments I make go back to my bank. But let's get granular before that, because I'm going to teach a little bit of that at your event. But here's what you do. The biggest thing that will take families and individuals down during a recessionary period is debt. So how many of you have literally done a budget? It's simple. Just take a piece of paper, fold it in half, that line in the middle. On the left side, put all your income, all the sources of income you have. I don't care what they are. W-2, 1099, wholesaling, flipping, all those incomes, write them down and then tally them up. But break it down monthly and weekly. I want to see monthly and weekly. On the right side, take and break down all your household expenses, the things that happen every month, the groceries, the diapers, the utility bills, the rent or mortgage payments, write all those down. Then draw another line horizontally, and then underneath that, write all your debts down. Start with the credit cards and put them in the balance, put them in order from lowest balance to highest. So now you've got income on one side, tallied up monthly and weekly. On the right side, what you've got all your household expenses, monthly and weekly. And then underneath that, you've got all your debts. And on the debt column, what you need is the debtor. Okay. So Amex, Discover, Visa. Then I want you to put the balance. Then I want you to put the interest rate that they're charging. Oh, and by the way, the interest rates just went up on almost every single credit card, but you probably didn't notice that. And then write the minimum payment that you make, or whatever payment you make. If you make a minimum, great. If you make more than a minimum, then write that number down and break that down weekly and monthly. Now, when you tally up the right side, all your expenses and all your debts, monthly, weekly, is that number more than your income? Now, if it's not, good, we're on the right place. But now what I want you to do, I want you to go to your W-2 income and I want you to eliminate it. I want you to eliminate it because we're going to pretend that you're going to lose your job. And I hate to say this, some of you will. Some of you are going to get laid off. Some of you, the company you work for is going to go out of business. Some of your businesses that you derive a 1099 income will be gone. I don't mean to be an ass. I don't mean to.
No, we need to be real.
I'm being as real as I can be because I will promise you this is going to happen to some of you. Hopefully it's not you, and hopefully you're sitting there saying, nope, not going to be me. Well, in a second, we're going to find out if it's going to be you or not. So once you eliminate that W-2 income, are you upside down? How much debt do you have? How much do you write a check for every single month to all those debtors? Because that's what's going to sink you during the recession. Because everything you know to be true today, this pretty world that we live in where everybody's got money, everybody just got raises, everybody feels like they're living on top of the world, that's all going to change very quickly.
I wouldn't even call it a recession. And it's almost like a controlled demolition of this is done on purpose.
Reset. It's a reset. I mean, look at what's happening.
It's part of the great reset. I mean, none of it makes sense because it ain't supposed to make sense. They want to crash the economy and they want to bring in the great reset. They brag about it. I mean, it's not conspiratorial anymore. I love how people say, me and you've been talking about this for years. Like they've been talking about this in their books. So you got to read it. You can start with the Creature from Jekyll Island, which was written, almost 40 years ago. I mean, he talked about this and warned about this for a long time ago, and now it's happening. They're going to blow up the whole system and have us on our knees begging for a handout. That's what they want.
It scares me. Listen, like I might be one of the most prepared people for this because I understand the opportunity that lies ahead. See, I missed that opportunity in 2008. I was a financial advisor. I did what they told. I practiced what they told me to do. I sold what they told me to sell. I was a great financial advisor. I was top 3 in my firm that I was at. But I rode the roller coaster straight down because I listened to what they said. Yep. And, today, like I'm not liked in the financial advisor world. Actually, I'm pretty well hated. And that is because I tell people the truth that the advisors don't want them to know. Stay the course. You're in this for the long haul. It's a paper loss. Bullshit 1, bullshit 2, bullshit 3. It's just so that they continue to get paid. That's all it is. It's an illusion. If you understood just the drawdown effect, you would understand why that single statement is flawed. Now, Warren Buffett says, yes, you invest for the long haul, but Warren Buffett doesn't just stay invested through periods. He buys puts. He's got people that know how to play the downside. He hedges everything. You don't play the same game Warren Buffett does. So you can't model your decisions based on Warren Buffett. Most people out there, not all, but most, should have got out of the market back when I was telling people to exit the market. They should have sold their stocks, because there's 3 rules to investing: buy low, sell high, and don't lose money. But what do people actually do? They allow FOMO and temptation to get the better part of them. So they buy high. Why did people buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, shit coins, anonymous, brood coins? Why did people buy all those?
Soon to come root coin.
Root coin. I'm promoting it, man. I'm pushing it for you. Why did they buy it? Because everybody else said buy it. Because everybody else was jumping on. There was no fundamental valuations on any of them. There's no intrinsic value. If you know anything about like Warren Buffett, he's a fundamental investor. He hates Bitcoin. Now I dabble in Bitcoin, but I bought it.
Well, hold on real quick, Naugle. His partner Charlie Munger calls it freaking rat poison, right? Yeah. And these 2 guys are the richest people on the planet, and he calls it rat poison. It's so unbelievable that these young generations believe all this garbage on something you can't see, feel, or touch, because they think it's the wave of the future and they're going to get away from the federal government and not have to pay taxes and hide all their wealth. It's all. I wouldn't be shocked if the federal government, CIA, deep state, Great Reset pioneers are behind all this cryptocurrency to steal and rob and cheat and manipulate and steal wealth. It's been done for thousands of years. Look up the tulip mania back in the 16th century, right? They would cheat people. Then you had the high priest of Egypt and the old priest of Babylon that would know something about science or like a solar eclipse, and they would trick the people into giving them money, or they'd say, we'll blot out the sun, and the solar eclipse would come out, the sun would come out, and they say, see, we told you, you better give us money or we will blot out the sun. There's so many tricks and scams, guys. If you can think with this, most people, when it comes to making money, are full of shit. And if you can understand that, and you can do the hardest shit you possibly can that nobody else wants to do, you will make money. Don't do all the easy shit that's not easy. That's where
on that same thing, and I want to talk a little bit about something that a lot of people aren't paying attention to. I would be a lot wealthier than I am, and I do well for myself. I would have millions more followers than I do if I just told people to go out and just do simple things like, oh, just buy this and you're going to be wealthy. If I played guru, I would be far wealthier and far, far, far bigger, from a footprint standpoint. But I've always stayed the course and just told people the truth. And people don't want the truth because the truth hurts. And because what I teach is actually kind of boring. It doesn't get you rich quick. But you know what? Exactly what I just said. If any of you read Robert Kiyosaki's books, I don't know why you don't know this yet. There is no get rich quick. Wealth is a marathon. It takes time. Rich, which are all the people that you see out there with the Lambos and all the shit, you know who I'm talking about. I'm not going to call names out. They will be the next poor people you watch. Those Lambos will be up for sale. And guess who's going to buy them? Not me, because I don't want a Lambo, but the people that actually sat back and waited for it. Because playing rich is you're literally attracting all the wrong people. You're attracting broke people. You're attracting the wrong people that aren't real. Like, I've just always tried to stay real and try to just do the work that you gotta. Why is Warren Buffett so wealthy? Like, here's some advice, and I'm going to get back to like what people need to do outside of the budget and getting rid of debts, because that's the number one thing that'll sink people. But why is Warren Buffett so wealthy? People are always like, oh, because he's brilliant, because he's so smart, because he knows how to read charts, because he's got a good team. All those are a piece of it. There's only one single reason Warren Buffett's as wealthy as he is: time. He has never stopped investing. He has always invested since he was a kid and never stopped. And he got better and better at it, but he made tons of mistakes. He made so many mistakes along his journey. But you don't hear about the mistakes because all you focus on are just the wins, which is all people want to focus on, but they want the quick path. Oh, there's got to be a way to do it faster than Warren Buffett. Maybe there is, but that way will usually result in greed. And one of the laws of wealth is if you seek unrealistic returns, you're going to lose your money. The money will flee you.
Chris, are you going to invest in the market when the market turns? I mean, like 2008, knowing what you know now, are you going to try to go and buy some stocks?
I will, but I'll tell you, it'll probably be later than most people jump back in, because I think this is going to be a long, drawn-out recession or even depressionary period of time.
Even if they start pumping money doing quantitative easing again? And drop interest rates to zero like they did in 2000?
They will drop interest rates. They will drop interest rates to zero. They'll obtain their goal around 2% inflation. And by the time they get there, we will be so deep into a recession. The Fed will thrust us into a recession, hands down. I mean, Congress.
Wait, before we go any further, now hold on one second, guys. If you're following right now, give us a share, give us a like, share this content. This is a lot of people need to hear this, especially people that are in the business game or entrepreneur game. You know, try to give the Chris Naugle some love here because he dropped some good knowledge. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. So you just. There just is no easy path. And I will buy stocks. You know, I have specific companies that I love, but I will buy them so severely on sale. And same thing with real estate. Like, I won't jump into real estate right away. I went through 2008 and I started buying in 2009. I'll wait a little bit. Okay. But I'll be lending money the whole time. I will lend money the whole way down and the whole way back up, but I won't have to control anything. And I will lend to people that don't need money. I will lend to people that were smart, people that have assets, and I will attach myself to all those assets so that when they can't pay me the payment, I might just inherit some real estate just by the nature of what I do. Control nothing or own nothing, but control everything is the single thing.
Yep. So guys, also posting comments as we're talking. I'm posting every time y'all make a comment, I'm bringing it to the front. You know, we'll answer some of you guys' questions. You have concerns for Naugle questions. But don't be scared to ask a question. I'll post it.
Yeah, I'm definitely kind of old school in the way I do things. But, you know, I learned a long time ago from this guy. He said the ultimate in real estate is being the bank. And I took it very serious. And I started just being the bank. And it's been the best decision I made. I still have some real estate, about 13 rentals. But believe me, tomorrow, if I could sell all 13 right now, I would. I've been selling them off. About every 2 weeks, we close on one of our rentals, then they're gone. And people think I'm crazy. I might be crazy from a tax side because I'm paying, you know, I get hit pretty big with taxes, but I understand the complex trust structure, which I'm not going to get into. So I got a little dial, almost like a guitar amp. I can dial how much tax I want to pay. But getting outside of that, so here's some other advice. First off, like I said before, the budget, do a budget, figure out.
Answer this question real quick before we move on to that.
How will we, this is easy, Tim. How will we know when we hit bottom? You won't, but you will know just by observing and logically looking around. When your friends and your coworkers start losing their jobs, and you start seeing in the news that unemployment numbers are skyrocketing, when you start seeing that, you know, people are losing everything, when you just hear enough people screaming of how bad it is, you know you're close. You'll never get the bottom and you'll never get the top. So if that's what you're seeking, you might as well start looking for white unicorns out in the woods too, because I guess, you know, people that think they can get the bottom and think that they can get the top obviously have also found out how to find white unicorns out in the woods, but you won't. But once people, you know, and it's like Warren Buffett said, you know, when others are greedy, be fearful. When others are fearful, be greedy. You need to be watching fear, and you need to be watching it from your eyes. Don't listen to other people. Don't watch the news. News is bullshit. Just watch the news for unemployment numbers. Watch the news for businesses closing. When you start seeing big businesses, like, you know, for example,
you don't watch CNN? You don't get your information.
When I'm on the
CNN,
treadmill at the gym, they don't, because I actually asked them to turn it off and put something else on. So now I just watch infomercials on the gym. But before they had CNN, and it was just it's unreal what they put on the news these days. You can look at, you know, just all you need to do when you want to find the bottom is look around and watch the disaster that's going to happen, and then you know you're close, and then just slowly start buying in. Don't go all in. Okay, that's what a lot of people want to do. They just want that easy wealth. They go all in. Slowly do it, like dollar cost average in. If you're going to buy into stocks or mutual funds or ETFs, you're going to get into real estate. Just buy real estate that you love. Buy real estate that you would own through any market cycle. That's the best thing you can do. Like, you know, Chris loves mobile home parks. He'll buy mobile home parks when it's a good time to buy them and when it's not a good time to buy them. It doesn't matter.
Always deals.
Yeah, there's always deals, folks. Like, real estate is one of the greatest investments you can ever put money into. It's made more millionaires, but it's also been one of the ones that's made a lot of people broke because they don't understand the fundamental rules. Invest in things you know, like, and understand. Don't invest in things you don't understand. If you don't understand mobile home parks, well, learn. Pay Chris. Have him show you. Get on his bus tours. I've done them. Go around and learn what it's like to own mobile homes. Hear the bad stuff. Can you handle it? Can you walk into a place that's rat infested, that, you know, has all this nasty stuff? Can you handle that? And can you handle the phone calls that come along with it? And if you can't, well, then just lend money or just do something that you like. People invest in things because they think they're going to get rich, and they go broke because they don't know, like, and understand what they're investing in. People buy like FTX or FTT or I'm trying to think of them. Shibu Inu, any of these like cryptos that people bought, they knew nothing about them. Nothing except for somebody said, "Oh, this is going to go to the moon," and they bought it.
Who is the guy that looks like he's freaking slow that owned it? He looks like he's slow and almost got like a learning disability.
No,
what was his name?
I seriously wouldn't know.
Ferdito. Maybe somebody can post in the comments what his name was. But if you just look at him, he looks like he's mentally ill. And y'all believe, a lot of people believe, including people like Tom Brady, that gave him millions of dollars investing in that. Tom Brady lost millions. How could you honestly think that a guy like that, they were calling him the next, on CNN, they were calling him the next, like, what's one of those big investors back from the 20s? What was his name? Anyway, but they were calling him some name that was just ridiculous. The guy looked like he had mental issues. Like, you got to listen, in the game of money, business, and in war, because money, business, and real estate is all war, you better judge people. I know there's an old saying, don't judge people by the way they look, right? Yeah. No, or the way they act. No, listen, I judge everybody. Everybody. If you look like a duck, you walk like a duck, you probably a duck, right? And that guy looked like a duck. He looked like he was just really thrown off. I mean, I don't know about you guys. Have you seen pictures of what he looks like, Naugle? I mean, his overall.
I haven't, but I haven't really followed it at all.
Oh my goodness! But anyway, I'm getting
I try to spend my time on things, that really move the needle, or things that help other people. Like useless information like Shiba Inu or Dogecoin, just because they got a NASCAR with that on it means nothing. It just means they had the money to sponsor the NASCAR. That's all it means. Doesn't mean it's a good investment, but people are blinded by the untruths in life, and that's the problem.
Well, Frankie just said something very pertinent, and I want to, because it's so important. I've learned, the older I get, the more that your gut and your intuition as an entrepreneur is so dead on. Every time I've went against my gut and went with my heart, I get hurt.
Yep.
In business, you need to go with your gut instincts. If the person doesn't feel right, it doesn't sit right, I don't care how good the investment sounds, don't do it. Every time I've went against that, I've always lost or regretted messing with that person.
100%. And I bet you half of this audience watching has been there, where they've made a decision on emotions. They didn't follow their gut. And as they were doing it, like, things fought them. They had signs everywhere, signs that were just, when something's difficult, sometimes you should stop, pause, and say, maybe these are signs, but we don't. We just keep pushing through it, and it just doesn't feel right. Like, here's some other people that I'm sure felt like that. I don't know if any of you have been paying attention, but since FTX, there's been a slew of unexplained deaths. So we've got the visionary, one of the top crypto guys, Nikola Mushigan, I think is how you say it, dead. Okay, he somehow drowned. He's 29 years old. Then you had TT Colander. Okay, he was one of the top crypto guys. Like, he was partners in a ginormous company. Dead at 30. Just unexplained death. And then I just got this news today, a Russian billionaire who was at the top of the thing. His helicopter crashed, which some of you are like, well, helicopters crash all the time. No. You see, the reason he was on that helicopter is somebody for some reason didn't take the helicopter trip, and then he was offered it, and then it just miraculously crashed. Like, you're going to see a lot more of this, folks. They're trying. What you have to understand is one thing: the Fed is, as long as you understand, the Fed is not the U.S. government. They're separate. Okay.
The crime syndicate. Just call it for what it is.
It is. It's a crime syndicate. But the Fed has one job, one single solitary job. Can any of you tell me what that job is? What is the Fed's number one job on top of everything else?
Money.
Well, even bigger than that. Can anyone tell me what they'll go to any length for? Any length, including killing. Anyone want to comment?
Anybody?
No one? Okay, it's close, Frankie.
Money and control.
It's protect the dollar. Protect the dollar. That is it. So everything you said, yes, money and control, but where does money and control come from? It's the dollar. Protect the dollar. That is their number one goal. What did crypto threaten? The dollar, right? Now, I don't care if the dollar, and here's the thing you have to understand. I don't care if the dollar is this fiat piece of money, this thing, this is nothing. But a dollar could be a digital currency, which you're going to see happen inside probably the next year to 2 years. They're already testing it. Their number one job is to protect the dollar. Those lives that were lost and many more that will follow are because people challenge the dollar. When you challenge the dollar, when you try to challenge that, you will disappear. You've seen that happen. It's sad, but crypto, okay, in its purest form, Bitcoin, Ethereum, challenged the dollar because it was a decentralized currency that they were trying to do. The US will, just like China and every other, they will all go digital, which will mean once they go digital, just to give you a glimpse into the future, they will control everything. Okay. And eventually they will push if we don't get rid of some of the things going on in politics right now, they will push this Green New Deal shit to the end of the world and back. And they will control, like I drive a vehicle that gets 8 miles to the gallon. With a digital dollar, they will know how much I spend on fuel. And they might even say, okay, well, you can only use this much fuel or something, trying to limit that. They will be able to control that because they will control the dollar.
For what it is, they're trying to create modern day slavery.
Modern day slavery.
Through the guise of environmental controls.
But it's happened in history before. This isn't
new. They're listen, this is all a scam. I might get, I can't help but to say how I feel, but hopefully I don't get censored. But global warming is a scam. Cryptocurrency is a scam. The Federal Reserve is a scam. They got the best scam. Imagine where you can just, imagine if I had a printing press right here in my house and I started printing money and giving it away to everybody. I'd go to jail. Right? They call that counterfeit. But when the federal government does it, they call it with these cool little names. They call it quantitative easing. No, it's called counterfeiting. They don't own anything. They don't do anything. It has no intrinsic value, but the fact that we're made to use it because we have the largest military on the planet and we can enforce our will across the world. That is the only reason why everybody's using the dollar. And it is the biggest scam in world history, that they can go and print money out of thin air and then charge us back interest on something that they've never created. They didn't create any value. They didn't do anything for it. It's the true way to get something for nothing. It's the biggest criminal syndicate in world history.
Yeah, absolutely. Read Creature from Jekyll Island. You'll learn about that. And then read The Secrets of the Federal Reserve. Let me hit Frankie's couple questions. So, he had a couple of really good ones. He said the dollar is a scam. It's worthless. It is, but it doesn't matter whether you believe it's a scam, whether you believe it's worthless. It's the only thing we can use to exchange for goods and services in this country as it is. So it can be a scam, but until everybody loses faith in that, and right now that's not happening because the dollar is still the strongest currency in the world. Okay. It is still what oil is valued in until it's not, which you're already seeing some cracks in that foundation with what's going on with the Saudis, where we go and beg, this president goes and begs for them to give oil and starts laying out demands. And they're just like, no. And like, they will, like they have plenty of people to sell oil to, namely China, India, and Russia.
They're not. Well, the thing is, too, now go back to the global warming thing. They're not trying to push this global warming thing to save the country. They're using it to try to collapse the country so they can bring in the Great Reset. You realize that we're one of only the Western countries that are doing all this global warming stuff. The rest of the world that has the vast majority of the population, like China and India, are not doing anything global. Like, they're not on board with this global warming stuff. They're still creating more coal mines, using oil. We're not going to get away from oil. Look, I'm from an oil.
Not in our lifetime, anyway.
No, hell no. I'm from South Louisiana. I grew up in the oil and gas industry. Like, my whole family's tied up in. I worked in it as a kid. I've seen my family go in and out of it, or they've all been in it their whole lives. I'm in the know about this. You're not gonna. Everything is made with petroleum. Everything, cars, tires, plastics. You're not gonna get away from oil and gas. It's not gonna happen. The technology's not there. We're gonna need at least another couple hundred more years. And the fact that they even call it a fossil fuel is a joke. You mean to tell me? The biggest joke is, I talk to all my my peers, my dad, his friends. You really think that all these dinosaurs got together and died in one hole, thousands of feet under the ocean in like pockets of, miles of oil? You think that's from dead dinosaurs that sat together? It's all horse shit. It's all a scam. If you can think with that and understand that the powers that be are always trying to scam and manipulate to gather more control and power, you would do better off in this world. I'll leave it to you, though.
Yeah. Someone had mentioned gold. Precious metals are always going to be good because they can be used as, a bartering. So if any of you, here's the problem with gold or precious metals. It doesn't help you live a better life. It's a great store of wealth. So all of you should have gold. I mean, I have gold. I buy gold every single month, but I don't put large chunks of money in gold because it doesn't pay you an income. It's hard to leverage it in the proper manner. So it should only be used as a store of wealth because it will always have some valuation, whether it's high or low. And you should also realize that come hell and high water, that can be used to exchange for goods and services, things you will need to survive. So it's kind of a doomsday, thing, but I think everybody should have at least bare minimum. If you look at your investable assets, you should have at least 10%, no less, in gold and precious metals. But be careful with just that word precious metals, things that could be exchanged. I just say gold and silver, just keep it simple. The other thing people need to realize right now is if you follow Ray Dalio, you probably already know this, but I mean, he owned the largest hedge fund in the world, Bridgewater Capital, and he just resigned and, kind of stepped down as from the board and from the helm of that so that he could live the last phase of his life, as he speaks about in his book, Principles. And that phase is one of teaching people. So why is a self-made billionaire out there, seems like every day doing lives and doing this? He doesn't have to do any of that, but this is part of his give back. And the other thing you need to do is look at his portfolio. He's a stock guy. Like Bridgewater's a stock, like that's what they do. They manage stocks and investments. His new portfolio suggestion has 55% going to U.S. Treasury bonds, short and long term, 10% to gold, alternatives, cash positions, and a very, very small portion of the money going to equities. Like if that's one of the, and I will say in modern day times, Ray Dalio is the smartest of the smart when it comes to investing patterns because he's studied history more than just about anybody else. And he's derived everything he does based on solid principles and facts, not opinions, because he's almost lost it all into opinions. So when you really want to know what to do, why wouldn't you just start there? Like if you got money in stocks because your advisor says, oh, just ride it out, just stay the course. Like, are you fucking stupid? Like you must be brainwashed. And I put people in one of two categories. You can love or hate me for this, but you're in one of two categories. Either you are a creator, someone that's creating their own destiny, their own dreams, their own life. Okay, you're either a creator or you're a conformer. And if you're a conformer, you just follow what anyone else tells you to do. And you know what? I got no time for you. I don't mean to say that, but I can't change a broken mindset. I learned that a long time ago when I tried to think that I could help everybody. I could help everybody. You can't help people that just want to conform and just want the easy thing. They want the handouts and they think that the government's just going to take care of them. Well, there's nothing for free. I only want to help people that want to create because I know the difference between success and failure. I know it for fact, for truth. And that number one difference between success and failure is creation. So if you're a creator, like I'm an open book, I will teach you everything I know. And I know a lot of other people that would take you under their arm. People that don't have time to give will give you the time because creators are the ones that will change the world. Creators are the ones that will change lives for other people. Like I don't like selfish people. I don't like people that do everything for themselves. I like people that do things for a greater purpose, a purpose in life, a divine purpose. And that's how I live my life. I mean, I do what I do for a greater purpose. And it isn't money. A lot of people are like, oh, you're doing it all for money. Listen, Private Money Club, the new fintech company, I will tell you this right now with definitive, absolute certainty. I will sell that company in 5 to 7 years for north of $350 million. People are like, oh, you're going to be set. No, I won't. I'll probably donate most all of that money and start over the next day because I want to change other people's lives. Because if I just go out there and change other people's lives, and folks, I hope you're listening. It doesn't matter what advice I can give you. This is the single best advice I'll ever give anyone. If you focus every day of your life on solving somebody else's problem, you will live a life so, we'll call it wealth. You will live a life of wealth that I can't describe to you. But too many people think wealth is just money in the bank and the houses you own. I know so many multimillionaires and billionaires that are unhappy that they have all the money in the world to buy anything they want, but they're not happy because they lost their purpose. You always have to be searching for your purpose. And to find that purpose, you always got to be climbing higher and higher and challenging yourself. You might have $1 billion, Good. Give it away. Start over. And I almost said Warren Buffett did it, but if you understood how he did that, you'd understand that none of the money ever left his control. It just changed hands. He got a giant tax deduction, and he controlled all the money pretty much that next day. So when you're really looking at this recession, you need to get yourself ready. You should have already been prepared. You should have already sold out of your positions, or at least moved to safe, conservative investments inside your 401ks, your IRAs, your brokerage accounts. You should be really learning how to get rid of all your debts, at least as many of them as you can, the bad debts, your credit cards. Because if you got credit cards, and you know what? I know you do, because there was just a report that came out that we're at a 15-year high on debts. That's because people are so used to living this good life. Now things are getting tougher. Their income doesn't support the inflationary prices because your dollars buy less. So now all of a sudden they've gone through their savings, and now they've gone to their credit card because it's revenge summer. So they're just spending on credit cards. Your debts are sky high. And that will tank you, tank your family, and tank your future family generation. It just will. So that's the first place you start. People are always like, oh, what do I invest in? What if I told you nothing? What if I told you don't invest in anything right now? Invest in yourself, invest in knowledge, invest in getting yourself ready mentally, physically, and understanding the biggest opportunity of your lifetime isn't today. It's next year or maybe the year after. But can you wait? Can you kind of really see things logically and put emotion to the side for a period of a year or 2 years? Could you do that? You say yes, but I doubt it, because somebody's going to get in your ear. Some advisor is going to tell you, oh, it's time. Let's buy into this. And you're going to lose it all. But it's going to be the ones that are patient, that really do things just consistently and slowly, that are going to really come out and be massively wealthy in this next phase. This will be the single greatest opportunity of every one of your lives. No ifs, ands, or buts. In your lifetime, this is it. So if this is the biggest opportunity of your life, why are you focusing on anything other than getting ready to take advantage of this? You're focused on, oh, I want that new car. I want that, whatever it is. Why? What if you had to drive a beat up Pinto? What if you had to literally live like you don't want to live and just forego all the luxuries and the things in life? Now, I'm not saying you have to. Actually, I'm the person that says don't do that. But let's just say that's what you had to do to be ready for the single greatest opportunity of your life. Could you do that? Not many can. I don't even know. Like, I probably could, but I wouldn't like it. My wife certainly couldn't. So I'm being a realist. I'm saying it's one of the hardest things, but that's what you got to be looking at this like. You got to literally say, what am I willing to give up today? What am I willing to give up today so that I can live the rest of my life on my terms in any way I want? And then my kids can live their lives in any way that they want because of the decisions I made today. Is that something you're prepared to do? I don't know. It's a tough thing. It's a big, heavy lift. And I'm not telling you don't invest. I'm not telling you don't buy real estate. But if you're going to invest in real estate, understand one thing. The value of the house you buy will be worth less next year. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you buy real estate today, you better hope you stress tested that and ran projections at reduced rents. And unless mobile home parks, those will be fine. But reduced rents, especially if you got A's, your rents will go down temporarily, and then they will go higher because people will lose their jobs. They will not pay rent. Just look at the pandemic. The people that did really well in real estate were the people that had the reserves to pad that period of time, because I know my tenants weren't paying rent. Why? Because I live in New York and they didn't have to, and there was nothing I could do about it. That same thing will happen, especially depending on who's running the ship up top, in this country. Like, chances are a lot of states, except for Florida and maybe Texas, your tenants aren't going to have to pay rent because they want their votes more than they want you to get your rent. You better realize that stuff. If you're going to enter real estate, understand what could happen in this next phase, and make sure, I love Airbnbs. I get this all the time. Oh, what do you think about Airbnbs? I think they're great. I think they're going to be around for a long time. But I think a lot of the people that bought Airbnbs bought these really expensive houses because they wanted to flash it. They wanted to go visit it. I think I'm going to be buying their houses pretty soon. That's what I think, because I think there's going to be a fire sale on all these people that bought these really expensive Airbnbs that now they can't support it because it's already happening. Chris Root has had it right so long. Think of mobile home parks. That is not a sexy business. Not a sexy business at all. I've been through his places. I'm like, man, I wouldn't want to own this. But you know what? That's the business that survives. The one that nobody wants, the one, and now people are onto it. But back then when he was buying them, nobody wanted them. They're like, that's crappy. That's hard. It's managerial nightmare. But he'll be just fine through a recession because people won't be able to afford their nice apartments they're in now. They'll lose their houses and they're going to have to live somewhere. Hey, mobile home park, that's shelter, no matter how you look at it. I said a mouthful there. What's your hat say, Chris? Make mobile home parks great again? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. I'll make trailer parks great again. I love it. Love it.
Well, I mean, you got to play where you can win, guys, and you got to stop listening to people that are trying to tell you get rich quick. I mean, like Naugle said, these mobile home parks don't smell good. They don't look good. Didn't have the greatest tenants sometimes, but at the end of the day, I have the greatest bulk of customers ever, because how many people can afford a $3,000 rent, but how many people can afford 1,000 or 800, right?
Right.
Lots of people. So, yeah, I mean, I'm prepared. Like I agree with everything Nago says. We're actually selling off a small portion of our portfolio right now to get liquid. We're raising a lot of private money, getting ready for a recession. We're going to be leaning on Chris for that as deals come up. I think if you don't have any, if you don't know what to invest in, save your money. Don't just start buying stuff. Invest in knowledge, masterminds, opportunities. Invest in good operators, right? I would fancy myself as a good operator, right? I can honestly tell you guys, if you don't know where to invest, but you got a lot of money, find somebody that's a good operator. Don't invest in a business. Don't invest in an idea. Invest in good operators that know how to run businesses, that are willing and able to deal with the day-to-day operations of the bullshit that are accompanied with that, right? Because this shit ain't easy. What I do, like what I do, is really hard. But I would invest in myself. Nago, have I paid every single one of the guys? How long we've been doing this for?
Even sometimes when you probably shouldn't have had to pay the interest that you did, but you did it because you knew that relationship would be worth more than that extra interest payment that investor wanted, because they didn't, anyway, just a matter of like when the money hits and when somebody thinks they're supposed to get interest versus when they actually should. But you always came through. And it's funny, when you really think about this next phase, how are people going to buy real estate when the banks aren't lending, when they're hard money lenders that they've gotten so used to just easy money from, when they're not lending anymore because they got their money from Wall Street? That's going to happen. Banks are going to seize. It's already happening. Wall Street firms and hedge funds and all these hard money lenders, I've seen it happen. Now the money's good. They're not going to be lending. They're going to make all sorts of restrictions, and it's not going to be easy. I love Steve Jobs because he was so set on his one thing that he wanted to do, put a dent in the world, whatever you want to call it. But, the one thing I love that he says, and I mimicked it, he created products that people didn't know they needed. We didn't know we needed this. Matter of fact, like if somebody told us about this thing back, when we had our flip phones, we'd be like, who needs that? And then he created it and we all needed it. He created products that nobody knew they needed. It's like when I created Private Money Club, I did it to solve a problem I had, but now I realized I created a product that people don't even know that they need it yet. But I think I'm going to get really lucky. And I don't believe in luck at all. I believe luck just follows opportunity. And Private Money Club, when everything seizes up, is going to become one of the household things people talk about when they need money. Right now, it's just investor real estate that, it's money and borrowers for real estate. But eventually, like when you need a car and the bank won't lend to you, like Private Money Club might do that. When you want to fund your business, Money Club might do that. But it's like I created something that people don't know they need yet. And that's the hardest damn thing I've ever created, because you got to go out there and tell people why they need something that they don't think that they need. But then all of a sudden, when everything else goes away and they find out, holy crap, I do need that, it just blows up. So, when you're being a visionary, when you're going out there creating, don't always just create things that people need today. Create things that people will need in the future that they don't need yet. This recession will create massive opportunities. I mean, nobody would have been able to say, oh, I needed Uber before that. I had a taxi cab, but nobody liked taxis. So they created a solution that solved the problem that nobody knew that they needed. And you could go on straight down and do that. That's creation. Creation isn't creating something that solves a problem today. Sometimes the biggest creators create things that solve problems in the future that don't even exist today. So I want you to think about this recessionary period coming, and I want you to think about what problems our family's going to have, And what in your mind, what are you good at that solves a problem that might not be here today? You want to get ahead, you want to become very wealthy, solve really big problems.
And Chris, if things get really bad, really, really bad, you always got fans only, right? Me and Big Mama Rude are probably we're gonna go on. Mama, fans only. Huh? I'm gonna show y'all a picture of my toes, and that would scare people. And we're gonna
Yeah, that'll probably make it through the recession. I'll tell
and
you.
we're gonna do Rude coin, and I'll be all right. We'll make it, and I'll just be living in my double wide. I'll give me a double wide, live in my parks. We'll make
my
it.
Grandma, man, I spent more time as a child at my grandma's than anywhere else. And my grandma lived in, she didn't even have a double wide. It was just a mobile home park. So I know a lot about mobile home parks. I grew up in, didn't grow up living in one, but my grandma and grandpa did. And I was there more than I was anywhere else. So I know that side. And even in hard times, those people still paid. Every one of those people still paid.
Yep.
Those people lived there for decades until they died. Yep. I mean, that's the kind of tenant I'd want right there. That's the tenant I'd want.
That's exactly right. Well, Naugle, where can they follow you? What services do you offer to to these people that are on here that you can help them with?
We do 5 live shows every week, and they're all free. So just go to chrisnaugle.com, my name, Naugle, and then register for the wealth webinar. And then from there, you can figure out how to join us for What the F Happened, which is every Wednesday morning. My YouTube channel, I put videos up every single day, fully edited, super fun to watch videos. So my YouTube, all my social channels are the same. It's at the Chris Naugle. And if any of you are going to be in Destin, I'll see you this weekend. We'll have a really good time. Maybe you'll get up early in the morning and go for a run on the beach with me, and we can talk about what you really need to do. But, like on something like this, I gave you guys some golden nuggets. Maybe it wasn't what the answers you wanted were, because you want the easy road. Just understand there is no easy path. There's preparation, and nothing about preparation is easy. But again, I'll pose that question.
There's preparations, hard work, and strategic advantages. That's it.
And all of that's the greatest opportunity of your lifetime. And I say that so sincerely, because I can absolutely guarantee you that this will be, hopefully, unless you're really young, the single biggest opportunity of your life. But that opportunity for most people will look like tragedy, will look like disaster, will be one of the worst periods of time in their lives. But you got to pick a side. Are you going to create or conform? Because conformers are the ones that are going to blame everything on you and blame everything on everything else. But they're not going to take any responsibility for the fact that they didn't prepare. I live in Buffalo, New York. You all saw it on the news, right? We legitimately got 77 inches of snow in 2 days. Now, did anyone really have a hard time? I'm sure some people did, but we prepare. We're used to this stuff. We prepare. You all prepare for hurricanes down there. You board things up. You get ready. Then why wouldn't you prepare for the biggest storm ever to hit the financial markets if you knew it was coming and you got plenty of warning? Hurricanes, you get a little bit of warning, but then you got to deal with traffic. Man, you got no traffic. The freeways are perfectly clear for this prep plan. Why aren't you getting ready for this?
Yep, I think too many people are watching TV or on video games. They're so their mind is mush when it comes to the real world, and they rather just fill their mind with mindless entertainment, right? And they want to be entertained. The sad part about the general public and humanity is the vast majority of them just want to be constantly entertained, so they can't think further than their ass, and they can't think into the future. And that's people that get hurt, right? You got to get out of this entertainment mentality and get into an educational mentality.
Yep, and I agree with that wholeheartedly.
I don't entertain myself. I'm always educating myself. That's my entertainment. When I'm entertaining myself, I honestly feel like I'm, frankly fucking off, right? And I'm not saying that all of you guys have to do that. I'm just telling you, but I'm prepared. Nago's prepared. A lot of entrepreneurs need to be prepared. You guys watching this, you better go back and rewatch it. Figure out, get a plan, get a side hustle. Figure out what you can do to make a hustle. If you got a bunch of money, you don't know what to do with it, hold it, find a good operator. Get maybe hooked up with Chris Naugle. He can help you allocate some of that money into good operators like myself. And just hold on tight. It's gonna be a bumpy ride.
That's for sure. Well, I appreciate the time, man. It was good. I wish I could have given everybody, the exact roadmap, but that takes a little bit of time, and each person's roadmap is different. So there's no one way. I just say, if you understand banking, that's a good first step. There's two businesses everybody should be in: the one that pays your bills and the business of banking. So, like, you see it all around me, be your own bank. Like, that isn't just the infinite banking concept. That is literally understanding money, and being the bank is understanding and controlling every bit of the money that comes in and out of your household. Don't believe me? Well, look at what the Rockefellers do. They understand that one wholeheartedly. So that's what I teach. So if you guys want to learn that, I'm not far away.
Yep. And reach out to them or come to the mastermind. We're going to be hanging out right here, me and Naugle, with this big, beautiful mansion right here in sunny Destin, Florida, right behind me. And he'll be here soaking up the sun, soaking up some knowledge, and we're going to be skilling up. Huh, Naugle?
Love it, man. Always skilling up.
Right.
Invest in yourself, folks. We'll see you in Destin.
All right. Peace.
Bye.